Hello year 8s, so today we're going to apply collage into our cooler bottle work, and that's in the style of cubism. Now we've got our sections all broken up. We've started to apply HB pencil skills, which was the first technique, then we did some colour blending, and I'd like you guys to make sure that those two sections are complete and the rest of your work is sectioned with those two along with collage as well. Now how collage is going to be applied, now that you've practiced on your practice worksheets, you know how accuracy is really important, how to cut the paper, to tear the paper rather than cut it really small so you get a nice level of accuracy in your work. Now to apply this, how will it look? I'm also going to upload an example. I've uploaded an example, but you can see here just how we need to work with the corners and straight edges, but really just to make sure we tear small enough so it starts to build up. Now to apply those techniques into our work here, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to start off with you all get one piece of A5 that you need to keep and hold of, and you're going to use this for your collage. Now, what I really want to do is start to tear small, tiny strips. Now, your paper should be hard enough that you can create some rough, straight edges. Now if you don't, it's okay, just tear it as much as possible, and if you ever get a tear like this and you don't want it, just tear it away and you don't need to use that. Now what you want to do, you can create some small strips, but in this case I'm going to advise you don't create some strips, but rather keep creating the strips as you work along, and that will help you a lot as well. So make sure you glue your pieces of music sheets rather than the worksheet, because it will ruin the work that you've done already. And then place it down. Continue to work like this, and that's all I'm going to demonstrate now, is to continue to work on your outline first. Why our outline? Just so that we can have a nice accuracy in our shape, and the triangles that we've broken up look nice and defined. Now, while I'm working through this, I can notice that there's a gap there and I need to create a triangle. Before I create that triangle, I'm just going to start filling out the other edges in between. And then I can focus on the triangle at the very end. Just do the easy stuff first, and that will help us with our time management as well. But look how I can see that it's getting a bit bigger. I'm going to tear this piece and just start working the opposite way. Anywhere that I see gaps, I'm going to just make sure I cover up. Now sometimes when you're collaging, while you've been collaging for a while, you'll notice that your fingers get a bit sticky. When they do, press it down and just help your other finger to just make sure the paper is flat. That will help you just to keep everything nice and neat and prevent you from being really frustrated. I'm just piling areas on top as well, just so that it looks like it's coming from all directions. Now what I'm going to do is continue. See what happens when it's too sticky, it doesn't want to come off. Use your other finger just so that you're not too frustrated. And just make sure you wipe your finger if you feel like there's any extra glue on that as well. Just going to tear sections down even more, just so that I can create a little bit more smaller strips. And I'm just going to continue working. And really the same technique will apply to all your triangles as well, doesn't matter what size. The smaller ones will be a little bit more difficult, but it will be good practice. So start off with the smallest one you have, just because it's so difficult, but it's good to get out of the way. Then with that technique, you can really reapply that again and again in other areas of your work. Now that I've applied it here, what I'm now going to do is start working with the edges here. So with that, I'm just going to create, and if you create the triangle by tearing diagonally, you should get a triangle shape, which is a little bit hard to see right now, but you should get a nice shape there. Now it may not always be as angular as you want, and if I look at in this case, I know it's not going to fit. It's just too big. That's okay. You can always just tear it down a little bit more. The paper is coarse enough for you to do this. You can just strip it down a little bit more, just tear it down, and we can try now. Requires a lot of your finer motor skills, but it's really good practice just to kind of get in there. You can see there, it's filled it out, It was actually really easy to do, and now all I'm going to do is just find little areas that I can fill this section here as well. I'm just going to glue it on. Just going to go for it. If I know it's going to glue, I'm not going to test it out too much. And there you go. You should have one section complete. I'd like you to continue working on this just this week in lesson. You can take this home and complete it as well. If you completed it, there'll be a really fun challenge task for you. But otherwise, you have another week to complete it, and there will be a deadline released on Google Classroom. This will be part of your assessment work. So make sure that your HB pencil skills are there and finished, and then your color pencil techniques, and then this week while we're mastering our collage, you're applying this and building it on. And you're welcome to use this, you're welcome to take your work with you and complete it. Make sure your work is submitted by the deadline, which I'll post, and then your work will be submitted for the final term 2 grade as well, which I'm really excited.